to the Creative People series presented by Pineapple Gallery. I'm Audrey Shear, and I'll be your curator. Our guest today is Tom Gargiulo. Tom is a national and international multi-award winning artist, and he's on a mission to provide art to the public. In his quest, Tom founded the Gargiulo Art Foundation. The foundation started with Daytona State College in Florida, where it has placed 3 sculptures and over 100 paintings and prints, including works by Flagler County Artist of the Year recipients, a prestigious honor that Tom created, to many additional public sculptures, including Burro with Bird on Shoulder, a bronze sculpture created by Copper Tritzscheller that stands 10 feet tall in Town Center. Thanks to Tom and Arlene, there are sculptures throughout the town of Palm Coast, at the library, at the schools, in the parks. He's involved with Salvo Art Project and the Flagler County Art League, where you can often see his demonstrations, enjoy exhibitions he's arranged, and hear art talks given by Tom and other fine artists. And most recently, Tom has procured gallery space at the new Galleria d'Art for the Foundation's artists. Tom, with his partner Arlene Volpe, in pursuing his mission, has brought the spotlight to art in Flagler County, has vastly improved the look and feel of Palm Coast, and has brought tremendous joy to its residents. You really should be smiling by now, Tom. It's wonderful, these things you've done. I think it's just fabulous. So I wanted to welcome you and tell you that I'm honored and happy. I'm honored to have you both here today. And did you want to start by introducing Arlene?
Yeah.
Okay.
First, I'd like to thank Audrey and her husband Jay and the Pineapple Gallery for introducing me to talk about my work. I think the series are very important for people to understand what art is all about. I have alongside me Arlene Volpe. Since moving to Florida 27 years ago, I do the fun stuff. Arlene does all the work stuff.
Oh, man.
And she's on the side of me, she's behind me, she's on the other side of me. But what I do couldn't be done without the help that Arlene has given me all this time. I appreciate that.
I kind of figured, right? So, you want to jump right in with my first question for you?
Sure.
Okay. So, why art in public places? What motivates you and Arlene to do what you do?
Okay. First, I want to say something about my art. I don't paint subjects. My painting is the subject. I do art shows. I have done nearly 200 solo shows, in addition to shows of other artists and group shows. My work has been sometimes controversial. It's been censored several times. Shows are titled usually one word and combine poetry, music, entertainment, or performance art. Some of the shows I've done, my shows, are Torso, Boat, Accident, Fragments, Shorelines. I happen to bring two of the shorelines with me this evening. Grease, Non-Objective, Still Life, Model Prints, Collage, Heads, Philomena's World, 2 words, Heads, Line, Reclining Nude, Concealed, Katrina, Chair, and I can't read my writing. Oh, Quite Pen. I did that for a pen company. That's just some of the shows I've done of my own work. There's a lot of work to doing the shows, and I'm no longer doing art shows. There's so many good artists in the area that I don't want to take up the space that other artists could be using. So I just do my work for myself, and I invite artists, serious artists, to come in and we discuss it, and we discuss their work. And That's what I enjoy doing. I enjoy doing shows for other artists, having gallery space and curate shows. And, with Arlene's help, we're able to do this. Okay?
Yes, that's wonderful. So on the side, you place all of these sculptures in public places. What motivates you to do that?
Well, we started the art collection at Daytona State College when it was a community college. We have like 200 works in that collection right now, so we're run out of space. We also have artwork at Flavia County Public Library and City Hall in Palm Coast. The artwork at the college and the library, they're open to the public when they're open. City Hall is a little different. Unless they have an open house once or twice a year, the public really doesn't get to see it because they're inside the offices and things. So we had to go outdoors, and the first sculpture we purchased was a Flathead County Council of the Arts Best in Show winner, Peter Hokinson. At the time, I didn't have enough money to purchase it, but I publicly said when I get the money, I'm going to purchase that and put it in Palm Coast Art Collection. A few years later, I was able to get the money, but the sculpture was called Winsell, is now in front of the Harris House Gallery in New Smyrna Beach. And so I had to take it away, from them, which they let me do. And now we have that sculpture at the Flavia County Public Library. I think our next sculpture was Paul Ballacher. He's a Palm Coast artist. His Panther. At first, the city didn't want the sculpture there. Is just west of the toll bridge on Florida, Palm Coast Parkway. And Arlene was the one that got it installed. It took 2.5 years to finally get the city's approval to put the sculpture there. Today, no one understands what the problem was in the first place. But
I remember it was a
kept at it.
problem. Yes.
Yeah, and we just started growing. Arlene and I were looking through, we got an invitation to a group show, and I noticed one of the artists was an Angelo Gargiulo. He also was a sculptor. So we went to see the art show, met the artist. I liked his work and found out that's all he did was birds. So we went to his studio in Stuart, Florida, and commissioned him to do the great blue heron that is now at Waterfront Park. We have 8 of them in flight. And a local artist, I wanted to keep it local, so we got Vadim from Bunnell, who cast the great blue heron. We didn't have enough money to do all 8, so it grew. I think we did 4 the first year, and then 2 maybe the second year, 2 more the third year. And now we have them in flight. The late Ken Jones named it Flight of Life. And it's right along the intercoastal. The boaters could see it. Visitors to the park can see it. And what's interesting is when you enter the park, the birds seem low to the ground. But as you walk closer to them, they seem to fly up. They're on stainless steel pedestals, vine-like. And then during the years, we've added more sculptures. We were a contributor to the sculpture, which is a Paul Ballacher, for Wadsworth Elementary School. They were having trouble raising money for the sculpture, which is a Florida Panther, which happens to be the school mascot. And Haneke Jevons, who's an artist, she told, I guess, the principal of the school, you got to contact Tom and Arlene. They're the shakers and movers, and they'll get the sculpture going. And we did it. We publicized it, and we started getting contributions. So we contributed maybe 10% of the cost of that sculpture. But all the other public sculptures are all put in by our foundation.
Yeah, it's amazing. Drive around town and see them. Changes your day. It's tremendous. In the college, you see the paintings everywhere.
And the sculptures are, for the most part, commissioned. That creates a problem. We're not going to a store to buy them. We're commissioned the artists to do them. And this involves not only Arlene and me and the artist, but sometimes involves the Army Corps of Engineers. We have to get engineer drawings. They have to be hurricane proof. Engineering things, and it's exciting.
Yeah, these are the things that people don't think about.
Yeah,
you just go and drive by and enjoy.
I'm basically a two-dimensional artist. I do my work and I hang it up on the wall, or I lean against the wall, or I prop it up on a couple of paint cans in a gallery. But when you're dealing with sculpture, and especially when the sculpture is moving, like wind sail, it's kinetic, and it could move, and so it could, Arlene's always afraid they're going to fly off. She's a pessimist. I'm an optimist. I said, don't worry about it. We now have a problem with one of the ones we're doing now, wind sail. The second wind sail is stainless steel, and it's probably, it's probably 12 feet in height. I haven't measured the width of it. It's kinetic, it moves. So we have to figure out how we're going to do this so it's going to be above people's heads so it doesn't spin around and Arlene says chop off somebody's head. So it's an engineering thing.
And where? What did you
This is
say?
going to be a waterfront park.
Waterfront Park. Oh, nice.
It's been approved by the city, but we still have to make sure it's going to be safe. And so if it's on land, we're going to have to get a concrete pad, probably 12 feet circle. And I don't know what the cost of concrete is. I just know it's expensive because we had our driveway done and it was a few $1,000s. So these are things that you have to figure in. If we put it in the water, if we put it in the lake, and we've been thinking about that, the lake is not level. It's different things, and again, engineering. This is not my expertise. So Harriet Messersmith is the curator of the sculpture garden. So he's the one that's going to figure all this out and work with the engineers. And it's, I don't know, from doing the sculpture, I now appreciate the bridges going over the Halifax River more, the engineering, the work that went into it. I'm thinking, how are we going to put these pilings in the lake? We don't even know how deep it is. And they're going to be different levels. And how are we going to do that?
A whole different kind of brain, isn't it?
Yeah. So, and we're thinking about having it float, maybe, so we'll go up and down. There isn't a tide there, but the level of the lake might go up and down. Depends on the rainfall and stuff. And so, a lot of figuring out. Painting is so much easier.
Wow, and then you just hang it on the wall. So how long do you think it's going to be? Do you have a guess?
Well, we're still working on it. It was going to be ready this summer. Then it was going to be ready in September, October.
Oh, dear.
Now it's November. In the meantime, I'm getting people calling me about what's happening. I thought it was going to be up and this and that. Harry Messersmith, he earns his living by doing artwork for other artists. He has a foundry, so he casts their sculpture. And he said since he's been involved with the Gargiulo Art Foundation, he has tripled his work. He's getting more requests for work that takes time away from our wind sail. But we hope to have all 5 installed by 2021. That means I could go on to something else. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what yet.
Oh, okay. That was one of my questions, what we have to look forward to.
People ask me, what am I going to do next? I don't know. I haven't done it yet.
Okay, wow. So it keeps us, curious and intrigued. So you mentioned a little bit. I'm going to go to Tom the artist now. You mentioned a little bit about, gave us your titles of your shows and everything. I'm wondering if you'll tell us why you often have figures, torsos, and boats.
Okay, when I moved to Florida in January 1994, there's no market for my work. It's not New York City, it's not Paris, France, and so forth. So there isn't any market.
Don't you think it's the next best thing then?
Pardon?
Didn't you think it was the next best thing to New York?
Well, we moved to Palm Coast because of the blank canvas.
Right.
There wasn't any galleries here. This is before Pineapple Gallery. So we opened the first fine art gallery in the county. I think it was 1998. We moved in 1994, and my goal was to have a gallery within 5 years. And we met all kinds of opposition. How can you do this? How you do that? And all that kind of stuff. And then we finally got a co-op art gallery with 20 members of the Flatwood County Art League. And we were on our own. We didn't get any support from anybody. Then the year 2000, my uncle left me an inheritance, and I used that money to start the foundation. And our main goal was to mainly support the co-op art gallery. And my uncle's trust ran out in 2010, and we still got Gargiulo Art Foundation going. So I didn't think we were going to go this far, but we're getting some support. Our biggest contributors are the artists. The artists, if we sell their work, they contribute 50% back to the foundation. So they're our biggest contributors.
Okay. So the torsos, figures, and boats are in your work.
Yes, they're lino cuts. I acquired a bunch of 4 by 6 inch linoleum blocks. And my first one I cut was a torso, just from the waist up to the neck. Didn't have any arms, just the torso. And I proceeded to print them. What I liked about the torso was I could do it upside down, right side up, and sideways. And they always looked different. Some people didn't realize it was the same torso. And I would do a series of them. And I would do some, 4 by 6 inches. I would do it on different papers. I would add ink, crayon, pencil, paint, color tissue paper. So every torso is unique and it's different. They're original. I don't do additions. I would get bored. I don't do 12 of the same thing. They're all 12 different things. A lot of my work is accident. I don't plan it. I get some of my best work out of the wastebasket. One day we had an art critic visit us, and she had her little boy with her, Dylan. And I had my work spread out on the studio floor. It was still wet. And this little, I don't know, he was 3 years old, I think. Yeah, and he was walking around. He walked right over my wet work, and he worked on another one. And the critic, of course, was very upset and embarrassed a little bit. And I said, don't worry about it. I like it. And I would sort of direct him where to walk. And I did a series of works with Dylan's footprints.
Oh my gosh.
That was the title of it.
Wow.
That never would have happened if this little 3-year-old didn't walk across my work. Then when my own son was 3 years old, he got a magic marker and started drawing on the wall. My ex-wife was very upset, and I liked what he was doing, so I put one of my paintings in front of him. I gave him a permanent marker, not a washable one. And he started drawing on my painting. I turned the paint upside down because you can only reach so high, and he continued working, so his work is included in my work.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And that happens a lot of times.
That's
I usually work on both sides. Harry Messersmith, when he visits us and he sees work leaning against the wall, he turns him to the other side and wants to see what's on the other side. You know. So
He didn't want to miss anything.
Yeah, my work is quite different. I work in series. Let's say, well, this one, this is done 40 years ago, and it's part of a shoreline series I did. I think I only publicly exhibited it one time in a gallery. Never showed them again. They were, unless they were purchased, and the ones that weren't purchased, I stored. And then 40 years later, I'm running out. Arlene will tell you, I'm running out of space. I mean, there's only so much you can put under the bed, in your closets, and in your garage. So I take out my old paintings and I paint over them. So this painting and the one on the left, they're acrylic paintings, mixed media, is painted over something like this. And 40 years later, I think I've gotten a lot better.
Wow.
A lot better. More colorful. I can never make those wiggly lines and things before. They're hard for me to do. Non-objective work is hard for me to do. That's why I take it out of the wastebasket.
Huh.
This piece up here, I was probably cleaning the brush or something. And then I just, I don't throw anything away. Arlene's always complaining I don't throw anything away. And then that ends up being in one of my pieces.
Are you doing this kind of work now, or are you doing printmaking?
Well, what I'm doing now is, it's mixed. If I was going to do something like this, my work is about ideas. I might cut 10, 12-inch squares, acid-free map board. And I can't line up 10 of them in my studio anymore. I made, my studio is half the size what it used to be. So I have to maybe do 5 at a time, then 5, which I like because I don't know what each one's gonna look like. The only thing they have in common is a landscape. So I do 10 of these. And then I turn them over and I do 10 on the back side. And then I might decide I'm gonna cut out a 5-inch square from each of the 10. It might be in the corner, it might be in the center, it might be, I don't know, whatever. By the way, I haven't done this yet. I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
I like this idea too.
I think every day. I don't necessarily do everything I do, but I think about it. So now I have these 10 pieces, actually 10 pieces, but on both sides there's 20 different paintings of shorelines. And I'm taking a 5-inch square, I might change it to 6-inch square, 8-inch square, I don't know. And then I now put them all together in one piece. And then I have a show. And I have a show of 11 pieces of art. And that will take a period of time to do. And that's why I don't necessarily do it publicly anymore. I just rather have artists come in and share the experiences. And if I only going to show one, like in a group show, it's out of context.
Right.
It doesn't,
Right.
People don't see what's involved in it. It's not like painting, St. Augustine Lighthouse today, and then tomorrow I'm going to paint the Lions Bridge or something.
So you have all these ideas. Do
Yeah, I
you
have these
write them
ideas.
down in your journal? Years ago you said you journaled every day.
I write them down.
Do you still journal every day?
Basically, what I was doing, I've gotten away from it. I was writing 10 pages a day.
Wow.
And sometimes I would cheat and add drawings to it. And I had some people tell me that was an art. Writing was not art, right? And I don't know what I'm going to write. It might be something that's in the newspaper. And the first 5 or 6 pages, it may be nothing, Is later on more creativity comes in, and those are the best things. But then I might take all that work and I collage it into a painting.
Oh. You take the pages out of your journal?
Yeah, well, they're done on scrap paper. I recycle things.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I was hoping you were going to make that into a book for us.
Yeah.
That would be great.
I have little books. In fact, I gave Marjorie one of my little books. I think was Torso.
What about the Christmas book,
Yeah.
the annual book?
I do a book every year for Arlene. It's hard to decide whose book is it. It's
Yes,
a gift to
so
her.
characters.
She says it's her book. I said, well, it's my work. So we had this, and then we're thinking about how we pass this on. Who's going to get it?
Yeah.
Her family, my family, what kids. Well, it's sort of our history,
Mm-hmm.
and she must have 40 of these things.
Oh,
And
My annual Christmas book.
nice.
and every year, the book is presented a different way. The first book had a $100 bill in it, and it was kind of raunchy. Some curse. I was a different person then. I was a bitter guy.
No.
I was mean. I mean, so I give her this book with $100, and basically was, aren't you glad you got $100? Because then I listed all the things I could have bought for $100. I don't remember them now, but $100, you know.
Did she like this gift?
So that was sort of tradition. So every year she got $100, but the $100 was presented different ways. And this is a book that Arlene couldn't show anybody. It'd just be between us. So one day we're having breakfast, and Arlene says, I want a gift just like everybody else. I want a gift I can show people. So-and-so just got a new coat that her husband bought, and this one this. And, you know, and these gifts are intrinsic. My books are intrinsic, you know, that kind of stuff. I'm a saver. Arlene's pretty good too, but I still think she wastes money. So one of the books I gave her was coupons.
Oh, gosh.
It was coupons worth $100. But every year, if you don't turn that coupon in, you're gonna get 10%. It's gonna go up, it's gonna go up. She finally cashed it in. I said, you better not, because it's compounding. You're getting interest on the interest. That $100 is now, I don't know what it is. So that was one of her books. She said, no, I want it right now. I said, you're gonna be sorry. And then we're having breakfast, and Arlene said, this year I want a gift I can show people. So I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna give you 3 gifts. They're gonna be intrinsic in nature. They're gonna go up in value, and they're all gonna fit in your book. Now, I don't have a clue what I'm going to do, right? So this is like art, this is a challenge. So I don't know, I don't remember the order, but I remember Arlene's sister telling Arlene, don't bother going to see Chorus Line. It's a waste of money. It isn't any good. So of course, somebody says that, I want to see Chorus Line. So I was able to get 2 tickets at the Shakespearean Theater in Stratford, Connecticut, and for Chorus Line. And the 2 tickets were not together. It was the last 2 tickets in the theater. We're in the box office. We're in the box seating. Arlene's sitting at one end, and I'm sitting at the other end. And we're like looking at, you know, there's maybe 10 people in between us, I don't know. And we're watching Chorus Line. I liked it. And the cost of the tickets then was probably, I don't know, $50, maybe $60, I don't know. Arlene also expressed interest in a good artist friend of mine, Bud Riley. So she liked Bud Riley's work. So I called Bud up. I said, I'd like to see your work. I'm interested in some little pen and ink sketches, unframed, you know. Oh, before Bud Riley, I opened up a bank book for Arlene. It was called the Gold Account. And you go open this account with $10. So whatever money I have left, that's the money I'm going to use to purchase Bud Riley's work. And so I went to see Bud. I selected 3 little sketches pen and ink, little sepia wash, and I figured out right to the penny. And Bud said, "Oh, forget the change." I said, "Bud, it's got to be exactly this." It totaled up to exactly $100, and they all fit in the book. When we left Connecticut to move to Palm Coast, I had to sell my art collection. I had to sell some of my work, and we had the 3 penny sketches from Bud Riley. I could have sold them for $12,000, but they didn't take up much space.
I know you had to keep
So,
those.
so we brought them with us.
Plus they're Arlene's, right?
Yeah, there are these.
You have to wonder after a while who wants to who.
So that's like,
Wow.
and these things are in the book, and the book is, someday maybe I'll probably when I'm gone, somebody will publish them. It's the history, it's our history, but it's also a history of what was going on at the time, you know. And only a few people have seen it, and when somebody sees it, say, "Oh, can I take this? Can I borrow this?" So I know it relates to people. They see something in it, and one of my books was the rowboat. On the cover was the rowboat, so I did a series of rowboats in the book. And sometimes Arlene complained because this book is all about you. It's all about me.
Lucky Arlene.
I said, "It's for you."
She was just.
Now this year's book is going to be obvious. Arlene just turned 80, and that was the best thing that happened in 2020. Her 80th birthday.
Congratulations.
We celebrated. I had a surprise birthday party for her. It was a real surprise.
I bet.
What was really interesting is I invited people that didn't know each other. It was at the chart house. So they went to the chart house and they said they're with the party for Arlene's Volpe's birthday. They were seated at the table, and Arlene and I came in late with a couple artist friends of ours, and Arlene had no idea what was happening. And I wish I was there for the first 15 minutes to find out what people were saying.
Who are you?
How do you know Tom and Arlene? How do you know Tom and Arlene? And there's only one person that was not an artist. And so her name is Cheryl, and I said, "Cheryl, I want you to know that all these people here are artists." It's, "Oh, I know."
Oh, she could tell.
I know. So that's part of my art. You know, I would do dinner parties. Arlene would do the dinner party, and then I would invite some people. And Arlene said, "How many?" I said, "Well, sit down for 10. I don't tell her it's 12. So two people come in late. And it's like a play, you know.
Wow.
So Arlene now is gonna go out and get 2 more chairs and 2 more, do this and that, you know. And so it's.
Life is a surprise.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's never a dull moment for you, is it? And you live very creatively.
All right.
And it sounds like everything you do. It's just,
Have another
That's-
fall.
You know, I would do things, and like I'm with a musician, and I said, "Well, come along with me, and I'm going to Arlene's for a dinner." He said, "Don't you think you should call first?" I said, No, she has plenty of food. She always has plenty of food, so I would come in, you know, and Arlene would know, and then it's always a good time. It's always a good time for me.
Yes,
Anyway.
yes. Arlene is a very good sport.
Arlene's good.
To
Arlene's
say
really
the
good.
least. Yeah. So your list of accomplishments is very impressive, and I just scratched the surface.
Thank you.
Which one are you most proud of? Yeah.
My most proud of is the simplest, hardest thing I ever did was a single line. An art collector, he purchased a number of my work. This is in the 60s. And then he came to my studio, purchased some more work, paid me more than I was asking for, by the way. And then he wanted to meet with me. And he sent a limo his wife was with me, and I don't even remember where he lived. I don't know if it was New York, the border of Connecticut, New York. All I know was a dark, long ride. We had a couple martinis in the limo, feeling good. I'm going there, I don't have any artwork. He said, don't bring anything, here's this dude. We were there, he hadn't arrived yet from work, he was working late. We had a nice dinner, and then he said, come on, he wants to bring me into this room. He had a wall larger than the Pineapple Gallery wall with absolutely nothing on it. Track lighting and things. I guess this was a wall he would put work up before he decides whether he's going to purchase it or not. He had a really big collection. And we spent maybe an hour discussing art. Then I realized he was paying me for my ideas. No painting, no sculpture, no nothing,
Wow.
just talking.
Wow.
And at the end, he said he wanted me to do something. And we had both decided that line was the most important element of art. Because art cannot exist, art could exist without color, without value, without texture, go all the way down, and line. Line is the important thing. So I'm gonna go back, we're gonna meet again, I'm gonna go back in maybe a month with what I'm gonna do with line. I already have an idea of what he liked, you know. Now I'm thinking, what am I gonna do with line? A contour drawing, I wanted it simple. At the time I was doing work with Coit pens for this company. And so I was thinking of doing lines with the Coit pens, which is a calligraphy pen. Then all of a sudden I just took a tube of black printer's ink and I squeezed out a line on a sheet of glass. Just a small piece of glass. The glass was broken, by the way. And then I took a sheet of paper, watercolor paper. I put it on top of it very lightly, and I rubbed it back and forth with my hand. I pulled off a print. I took another sheet, same size. I put it on top of the line, centered it, pulled off. I got a second print, got a third print. I don't remember how many there were, but I think I ended up with 16 prints. Just one line on a sheet of watercolor paper. Now I got these lines, I got them lined up. And I remember the day I was meeting with an executive from General Electric who was buying some of my paintings, and an artist, Bob Brown. He's at the door, and Bob Brown was a real starving artist, and good artist. And I said, Bob, right now I'm kind of busy. I'm dealing with somebody. Maybe you could go to your sister's house and get dinner or something like that. And I said, never mind, oh, come on in. And now Bob Brown sees the work lined up against the wall, all right? First one to see these. And he sees the broken glass with the original line on it. He picks it up, and he's holding it up. It's like Duchamp with his work on the glass. And it's like, I'm looking at Bob Brown holding up the glass with the line on it that all these prints came from. And there's the GE executive who's looking at my paintings. And here we are looking at a line on a piece of glass, like, you know, right? Like we're crazy. Anyway, we end up going to a restaurant, all three of us. And we had a nice dinner. And then before we know it, the owner is sending drinks to our table. Because the owner found out that people were listening to our conversation.
Wow.
Right. So we're talking about the model print line. We're talking about this line. And so it was so great. And in the meantime, I take the lines and I get corrugated cardboard from an old refrigerator box. I cut them out and I paper clipped them. They didn't have the bulldog clips in those days. A paper clip. I got 16, I think there were 16 of them. I put them in a folder, and this is what I'm bringing to this guy, right? I don't know what he doesn't know what he created. This is it. This is it. He lines them up against the wall, sits back, he looks at him, doesn't say anything. So I like it. That was it. I like it. Two words. Like it.
Wow.
Okay. So we agree on a price, and I didn't want all the money up front, so we agreed, I think it was eight years, $2,000 a year. So it came out, that's why I think it was 16 lines. And he said I was never to do that again for 16 years, 8 years, 6 years, whatever it was. So, but I tried to do it again, I could never do it again. That was it. I mean, that was it. I could not do those lines. If you can imagine, the last line was like a ghost.
Right.
I mean, it had perspective. I mean, it was all lined up from the very darkest line, the fattest, biggest line, all the way down to this very light line, and all the gradations to it. So when I thought the 16 years was up, or the 8 years, whatever it was, I decided to do a show in our gallery in, where was it? It was in Bunnell. We had a gallery in Flagler Beach before Bunnell. It was in Bunnell. And I decided to do the show on line. Just lines. I only used horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines. No curved lines. The show was a sensation. It was censored. And it was censored by my fellow artists. I think the biggest compliment I could ever get, you know, when the public censors your work, that's one thing, but when artists censor your work, I'm saying, wow, I'm way ahead of my time. I mean, they don't get it.
Right, they got it.
Today, nobody wants to talk about it.
That's funny.
They're embarrassed. And so that show, Line, the gallery had a big mirror, and I put lines across. I used electrical tape, black electrical tape, and I put lines across the mirror. And then I told my friends that, you know, if you could come in, dress in white if you can. And then I had them stand in front of the mirror, and the lines would be across the bodies. Now you got people standing in front of the mirror, and they're jumping up and down and moving to the right and to the left. And then I had lines on the side of, like on the side of that pillar. I had lines that went on the floor, up the wall, across the ceiling.
That sounds like a very fun.
Yeah. And some artists gave me permission to put lines in their section. So I put lines in their section. And then it was decided that I didn't stay within boundaries. I'm an artist. I didn't stay within boundaries. I thought that's what artists are supposed to do. So they start pulling my lines down. And then some artists said, wait a minute. I gave Tom permission to put his lines with my artwork. I like it. It looks really good. It's like sort of Mondrian, you know. And so I was censored. So that was censored again. Arlene's not going to be censored. I should be talking.
That's funny.
Yeah, but it was educational. So people moved up. They started to understand more about art that they didn't know before. You know, art doesn't have to be on the wall; it could be on the floor. I did had a couple of planks I painted white. I put a black line down the center. They're about 6 feet in height. I had them lean against the wall. And a professional photographer came in. His wife was an art critic. He came in and he asked if he could take photographs. So I said, yeah, go ahead, take photographs. So he wanted to move my lines that were on planks to put somewhere else. But he's creating his own artwork. I said, just be careful, you know, don't bump into anybody or anything. In the meantime, his wife says, okay, if I sit down on that line, I had cinder blocks painted white, a plank going across with a line done it. No, in museums and stuff, you're not supposed to touch the work, and you're not, you know, sit on the work. I said, sure, you can sit on the work. And then right away, people come up with captions. Remember her name? no, her husband was Sandy. Anyway, we titled it So-and-so on the line, you know. So people start participating in my show, you know, that kind of stuff.
That's as good as it gets.
And we did a lot of things like that. We did a show with kites. We did, you know, all kinds of things. And people come in and decide, oh, I didn't know kites were art. You know, the kind of stuff like that. Open up. Everything's art.
Yeah.
So everything's art.
Yeah.
You know.
What a lot of fun.
Yeah, I pick up a rock. It's art. Everything. Just like these wires. Everything.
Okay. So my last question for you. What advice or words of wisdom would you like to pass on to anyone who might be on their own mission, whether it's to become an artist, more fully appreciate art, or be more creative in general? From Tom Gargiulo.
Well,
Words of wisdom.
that is a very tough question. I just like to say that artists are artists. You don't get it through education. You don't get it through painting. It's just there. And a good example are the naive artists. They don't have any training. They don't have any education. They don't take drawing 101 or Albert's color theories or anything like that. But they make beautiful art. They do really good artwork. Anyone can do it, but only artists do it because it's work.
That's true.
And it's not fun. And
Well, sometimes it's fun, right? Sometimes you have fun.
no,
You
never.
have fun.
It's always a challenge. If it's fun, then I'm not doing it right. It's work.
Yeah.
It's work. That's why artists call it work.
It's-
They don't say, "Oh, look at my pretty pictures." I say, "I'd like to see your new work." I don't say, "I'd like to see your new paintings." I mean, you know, it's work and work. And then when sometimes people say it's fun, well, you got a few more years to go, and then it'll be work. You know, then you're becoming an artist. You know, you take a workshop, and then you end up making paintings like the person that gave the workshop. It's good. I mean, it's part of your thing, but you can't be, you know, doing it yourself. You know.
It's mainly because it's coming from inside, and that's exhausting when you are pouring out all of this energy in doing the art that you're doing, to realize it is work, and you're very happy about it maybe in the end. But getting there is the journey.
So that's what we do. You know,
It sounds like you keep busy.
yeah,
You keep busy.
I enjoy
You're
it.
doing something interesting every day.
Yeah.
Every day? Do you do something interesting every day?
Yeah,
Every day.
if I'm not, it's my
Arlene
own.
says yes.
It's my own fault.
It sounds like
It's like if you go to a party and you're having a good time, or if you're not having a good time, it's your own fault.
That's true. That is true. But I'm pretty sure if you're there, it's a good time. Well, I want to thank you for coming.
I want to thank you.
And I want to thank you for all that, both of you, I want to thank both of you for all you've done.
We think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
This was a great creative idea to put all this
Yeah,
together.
I think this is important. That's why I like to have artists talk on their work, especially when you get three artists, three different disciplines. Basically, they're all saying the same thing, but it's a little different and so forth. And that's how you learn about art. You know, you can learn techniques, you can learn watercolor painting and acrylic painting and all that kind of stuff. But to be an artist, you have to be around artists to do it. And that's what we try and do, bring artists together.
So remember, art is great for the heart, the brain, and the soul. See you next time on the Creative People series. Aloha.
Yay.
Very good.
Okay.